Please join Thumsy and me in your responsive reading, which is printed in your order of service. This we know, the earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth. All things are connected. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Good morning. I'm Karen Dunham, and I'm here to welcome you to Fountain Street Church and to tell you how this place has changed my life and helped me make me who I am today. Spiritually, I was raised non-practicing nothing. Sometime after my formative years, I discovered the Friends meeting in Ann Arbor, and then a Universalist tribe in Southfield. After I moved here to the best city in the galaxy, I stumbled across this place. I started the same day as Fred, and the first person I ever spoke with here was Grant Lynn. I was here for Jason's exploding turtle head balloon pop. He remembers that. In 2006, on the Sunday before Fat Tuesday, I signed the book. In 2010, Fountain Street got me to New Orleans for a Katrina rebuild trip that coincided with Mardi Gras. We all know how that turned out. Continuing as a volunteer, presently I'm doing a term on the governing board. Last year I coordinated our photo directory. On December 23rd, I was here in the building on my way out the door when Elizabeth tapped me to narrate the kitty pageant. I said yes. So far this year, my big volunteer project has been our new website. I said our new website. fountainstreet.org. Hey, video guy, could you add a crawl down here? I gotta look at it later. Thumsy was a street find who adopted me in August 2006. Thank you. Adopting a kitty is easy. Helping another human being is more complicated. Every week, one of our ministers stands up here and asks questions like, what can I do today to ease the suffering of someone nearby? I've packed my share of welcome baskets and I've pledged to public radio. But recently, the act of helping others hit home, literally. Last summer, a posting on Facebook led me to open my house to someone in need. This is a person I met in my first year of high school in a fancy Oakland County suburb. Perhaps we're all just one domestic argument away from homeless shelters and food pantries. This is not someone you'd ever see holding a cardboard sign at an exit ramp. In fact, substantial web coding skills. Another Fountain Street website update volunteer conscripted. And last month, yet another Facebook posting led me to assist with a final tuition payment for someone I'd never met, reaching for his first ever college degree at age 59. It turns out we're only a step apart, having both played music on the street in New Orleans. Page 3. Volunteer doesn't have a printer at home. I had to handwrite it. I probably would have gotten to amateur philanthropy without Fountain Street, but every week I absorb the message that we are all here to make the world a better place and leave here thinking, what can I do? At Fountain Street Church, we believe that everyone deserves a life that is meaningful, a life that makes a difference, a life that changes the world. Free the mind, grow the soul, change the world. We welcome you to be a part of that with us. This is Fountain Street Church, and you belong here. Thank you.
We remember the ancient story of creation from the book of Genesis. At the beginning of the creation of the heavens and the earth, when the world was wild and waste, darkness over the face of deep. The heart of the divine spoke, saying, "Let there be light." And there was light. And the Creator saw this and declared, "This is good."
We are grateful for the light by which we see the whole of creation.
Then the heart of the divine spoke, saying, "Let all of the waters of the earth come together in one place, and let there be a dome to hold back the waters of the earth." And so it was that immense oceans were formed, and great lakes. And the Creator saw all of this and declared, "This is good."
We are grateful for the gift of water, which quenches our thirst and nourishes all.
Then the Creator looked upon the dry land that had been formed. It was a soil from which all plants grew. The divine named the dry land earth and declared that it was good.
We give thanks for the soil, the dust of stars in which all things grow and from which all things are made.
The heart of the vine speaks, saying, "Let growing things come forth the soil. Let there be plants with their own seed. Let there be peas and beans, corns and cabbage." So plants grew, each with their own seed, and the Creator saw of this and declared that this is good.
We are grateful for the plants which are our food and for all the growing things.
And the divine heart speaks, saying, "Let there be flowers of all kinds to brighten the earth." And so it was that colorful flowers came forth from the soil, yellow and gold flowers, pink and purple flowers, flowers to delight the eye and gladden the heart. And the Creator saw all this and declared, "This is good."
We give thanks for the flowers that pollinate the earth and bring beauty to the senses.
And the divine heart speaks, saying, "Let trees be rooted into the soil." And so it was that trees of all kinds took root in the soil, trees with delicious fruits to eat, and other trees of many kinds, maple and mahogany, cedar and cypress, oak and aspen. And the Creator saw all of this and declared, "This is good."
We are grateful for the trees, the big trees, the small trees, the trees of life that grant us oxygen for our next breath.
And the divine heart speaks, saying, "Let the waters bring forth living creatures of all kinds." And so it was that sea creatures came into being, from great whales to tiny minnows, every kind of creature that lives in the water. And the Creator saw all of this and declared, "This is good."
We are grateful for the creatures of the sea who inhabit our earth's largest and most precious resource.
Then God said, "Let birds fly in the heaven." And so it was that creatures with wings appeared, from great hawks to tiny hummingbirds, every kind of creature that flies in the air. And God saw that it was good.
We are grateful for the flying creatures that teach us, too, how to take flight and give us courage to try the skies.
God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures." This is when wild beasts appeared, and snakes that crawl on the ground, and mice and rabbits, deer and dogs, cats and cows, all the animals that live upon the earth. And this too was good.
We give thanks for the animals and the beasts of the wild, our closest kin.
The divine heart speaks, saying, "Let us make creatures in our own image and likeness to watch over and protect everything we have made." So human beings were created in the image and likeness of those creators. They are made male and female.
And we are grateful for the gift of human life.
The divine blessed the human creatures with the ability to choose, to create, and to destroy, and charged them with the care of the whole creation. And the divine spirit was in all that had been created, and the Creator saw all this and declared, "This is good."
I bring you first this morning ancient words from a time thought to have been some 3,500 years ago, when the ancient practices of the temple were first codified and brought to the people. The book of Numbers reveals a story told of the divine voice which came to Israel and its priest Aaron and spoke to him regarding how it is that he would bless the people. And this is the direction he was offered. Thus you shall bless all those who wrestle with God. And you shall say to them, God bless you and keep you, the divine face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And let the divine presence be upon you and ordain you into shalom. That is an act of blessing, a kind of reverence, which is what we're here today to practice. It is an honoring of this life we have laid out before us, a need that we have deeply within ourselves to truly see the elements and the creatures that make life possible. For without these things, which appear to be other than us, we would not be alive at all. We are totally dependent on all that has been created to live with and through and between us. And it is out of a recognition of that dependence that we're led to respond with a day like this, a day of awe and gratitude, a day of thanksgiving, a time in which we practice an ancient art that called blessing. That's really what this is about today, isn't it? I mean, the presence of our somewhat irreverent and fabulous animal friends is a lot of fun. And when I run into people in the community who know of our tradition here, they often smile and give their appreciation for this act. But what really, really makes today sacred, and that is the reason we come together to make sanctuary, isn't it? For that moment of sacred, is when people and their animals come forward to be blessed. It's this blessing part that we yearn for. These animals that we are soon to bless have in many cases been so profoundly important to our lives that we cannot express with words the debt we owe them. They are constant companions and quiet healers. They are the deliverers, many times, of that thing called salvation, the healing that we seek. And so we gather here to honor that which they are, not what they have done, but that which they are. You heard the rhythm early in the ritual. The divine poetry of the creation story reveals that animals and earth and light and people are made. And after each one, only one thing happens over and over again. a voice speaks, and it says simply this: you are good. It is good. So I want to talk about this rhythm, this practice, this art form called blessing that we are about to do together. Whether you bring an animal forward or not, today is about this ancient art which you have been made to practice. And so I need to apologize up front, because in order to get to the good news, I've got to get through a little bit of a rant here about this blessing thing. Any of you have these friends who just got back from Boca with their diamond necklace and spray tan and want to tell you about how blessed they are? Yeah. Somehow we have in our culture come to confuse the idea of blessing with the idea of fortune or luck or riches. And some of our religions have created a language which talks about our great blessing at the new car or at our children's achievement. And I want to encourage each and every one of us to recognize that none of that is about blessing. Good things and fortune and affluence are not bad, but they are not a blessing from a distant God who thinks you've done well enough to deserve them. And when we allow the world to speak of blessing in this manner, we allow the illusion, the original illusion of our separateness from our goodness to continue to rule the day. Because the original concept is not of brokenness or of a need to achieve or to do in order to be blessed. It is simply to honor that we have been made, not by ourselves, and that is good. And thank God we have animals to help us remember how it works. The ancient word for blessing is barak. And I sense that animals know intuitively how to help us recover this practice. This ancient word does not mean to infuse something else with a blessing it does not already have. To bless in the ancient language literally infers an idea called the bending of the knee, the honoring of the divine which is already before us. So that to bless someone or something is to say, as the Indian culture does, namaste. I see the good, the divine in you. We do not impart blessings in order to deliver things that are missing. We offer blessings as the natural response to our created selves. The only possible response to the breath that is free and a creation so extraordinary we could not possibly have made it ourselves. And so this day we ask our animal friends to give us a gift, a chance to practice blessing, to honor that divine spark we see in them. And this is why I call blessing an art form. Because like any true art form, it requires practice. And luckily, animals are really, really good at the receiving half of the blessing. How many of you have those you love with whom you have tried to offer a blessing of their goodness? To have them only say, oh, no, 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 not me. Half of the art form and blessing is the willingness to receive that message of your goodness and simply breathe it in. It's easier to bless an animal than a person because they can't argue about the blessing. But make no mistake, they lift up to us, each one of us, the opportunity to practice an art which has been lost. When my children were little and I was in seminary, I first learned those words that I offered up early from the ancient temple. God bless you and keep you, the face of the divine to rise before you. And may you be, as it says in the ancient language, ordained to be risen up into shalom. And I used to go into my children's rooms at night. Sometimes they were asleep, and sometimes they were awake. And I would make the ancient symbol of the priestly blessing. Anybody recognize that? These Trekkies are in the house. That's really it. This came from somewhere. It came from one of the oldest blessings there is, when the priest would come from the temple in the morning as the sun was rising, and they would put their hands together in a double blessing of the letter Shin in Hebrew, which is a sign of the Shekinah, the presence of God. And they would raise their hands above the people and speak those words of blessing upon them every single day. When was the last time your morning was like that? And the ritual continues. Now, 3,500 years later, modern observant Jews on Friday evenings come before their children. And though I don't think they make the Star Trek sign anymore, they do bless their children. And they are taught in the tradition not to bless them for anything they have done. It is the Sabbath. It is not about doing. It is about who we are. And so they say these ancient words, which you'll notice are actually in what's called the incomplete tense. They are something that has happened and is not yet finished happening. God bless you and keep you. It has happened over and over again, and it will continue to happen over and over again, and we play a role in the art of blessing the beauty and the power that is before us in children and animals and trees. But I have a confession to make. The book dropped. I like that. I stopped blessing my kids. Somewhere along that road, they got bigger. And they started thinking it was really weird. Oh, Dad, those creepy words again. And it wasn't until this week that it really just sank into me that I have, like I imagine many of you, a great loss and a great desire to find that art again. Who is it that you need to bless? Not because they're broken or missing something. Who is it that you need to stand before with your eyes upon them and your breath drawn in and say, you are good. Period. You are good. This is the message that an itinerant rabbi named Yeshua ben Yosef, Jesus of Nazareth, heard in a river one day, and the skies parted, and a voice came down and said, just this, you are the beloved, with who I am well pleased. And he dared take that simple message out to people who had been told over and over, you are not valuable unless you make bricks or unless you pay tithes, or unless you believe doctrines. And for that radical message of the essential goodness of every living thing, they took his life. And so we have before us a season called Easter in which we are called. And I think it's so appropriate that this is the first Sunday following the Easter to recognize the truth of that ancient message. No one is coming to bless the world for us. No one is coming to put their eyes upon you and tell you you are unacceptable unless the only thing that is coming is the opportunity which will never end, the invitation to bless and to be blessed again and again. The great philosopher Confucius summed it up like this: the beginning of wisdom is to call things by their proper name, and that name is good. So let us gather our hearts together in a moment of prayerful reflection. And after that, we'll have some blessing music, which will welcome those of you who wish to come forward with your animals to be blessed on either aisle. And we'll be joined by our coming-of-age youth who will begin to learn this practice with us. Let's take some time now to gather our hearts. Let us be open this day. Open whether we are one who brings forward an animal to be blessed, or one who sits to honor that divine sight which says, yes, indeed, you are good. Let us hear in the music an invitation to an ancient practice and an art form which still waits for each one of us this day. To see and to be seen, to hear and to be heard. The priestly blessing, which is the gift given to us, one and all. Let us begin.